Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. Today, we're going to take a look at the very cool, very amazing discography from a band from Stockholm, Sweden. We're talking about Seventh Wonder, melodic progressive metal band who have been around just about 20 years as a band. Okay, but their first album did not come out till 2005. So 15 years in their recorded history. We're looking at 5 albums total. So not the most prolific band in the world, but there's a reason for that. They were kind of pumping along pretty strong there for a few years, but then their lead singer, Tommy Karavec, got asked to replace Roy Khan in Camelot. So it could put like a little bit of a stalling factor in their kind of career for a number of years, but they're back once again. Tommy's kind of trying to juggle both as best he can, which is really cool because it's great to hear music from both bands, and he's such a great singer that at this point I don't think I could listen to either band without him at this point. So let's get started. So like I said, we've got 5 albums in total. I'm gonna go from my least favorite to my favorite. Well, let's talk a little bit about the guys in the band first of all. So like I mentioned, we've got Tommy Karavec on vocals, who joined the band in 2005, replacing their original singer, Andy, Kravjaka, something like that. He sang on their very first album. We had Johnny Sandin was actually on drums for many years. He left the band in 2010. Now we've got Stefan Norgren on drums. You've got Andreas Soderin on keyboards, Johan Leifvendahl on guitar, amazing player. Andreas Blomqvist on bass, also another amazing player. These guys are absolute virtuosos on their instruments. So, as far as like the music of Camelot, music of Seventh Wonder, Camelot on the brain here. Think of like early Dream Theater mixed with a little Symphony X. Throw in some, prog rock references to like Kansas and Yes, maybe. Really, really melodic, super hooky choruses. Just an impeccable band. The songs are really catchy. They're oftentimes very heavy, very symphonic. Lots of instrumental interplay, if that's what you like. So if you it's funny because if you can imagine like images and words, or maybe scenes from a memory era Dream Theater mixed with Camelot. Okay. So it's like, Camelot doesn't do a ton with all the shredding and the lots of solos where Dream Theater does. So if you can imagine kind of putting those two together, best of both worlds, it's kind of what you get. But even more, the choruses are even more hooky. Just it's so accessible, this stuff. It's like, this is one of those bands in progressive metal that, like, in a perfect world, I would think almost anybody would like this stuff because it's like the vocals are so amazing, the songs are so memorable, yet it's challenging musically, right? So let's get started here. So I'm going to start off with my number 5. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning for their debut called Become. Great album cover. All their album covers are pretty interesting for the most part. The band was on Lion Music back in the day on their first couple of releases, so that's the great label from Lars-Erik Mattsson out of Finland that features a lot of progressive metal and shred guitar stuff and all that sort of thing. Not quite as polished as future albums to come, but still, really, really good. The production's a little on the thin side, but like I said, really still very sensational with loads of instrumental virtuosity. You got Day by Day, has some shredding guitar and bass. The bass is very up front in the mix on the first couple of albums. Lots of keyboard solos as well, if that's your thing. You love keyboard and guitar solos and bass solos. This is the band for you guys. This, like I said, this is the only album with vocalist Andy Kravlaka, okay? Who's fine. He sounds fine on this album. He's not quite Tommy Karavec. I think once they replaced Andy with Tommy, this band kind of really went to the next level really, really quickly because Tommy is an absolutely gifted vocalist. What else we got here? Like Him, very memorable. The Damned kind of sounds like 80s Yngwie Malmsteen neoclassical metal. Not surprising because, we're going back in the early 2000s here, and, that style was very prevalent on Lion Music, so the guys were kind of playing off that a little bit. Temple in the Storm, it's got really good hooks to it, as does Blinding My Eyes, which has some wonderful guitar solos, as there are also on What I've Become, which is a really heavy track with some nice haunting keyboards and crunchy riffs. Overall, really solid debut, okay? But, man, the band would really kind of really find their way on their next album, Waiting in the Wings, which is coming at number 4 for me from 2006. So this is Tommy's debut on vocals with the band, also on Lion Music. Let me see. I don't remember if they have a picture of the guys. There we go. This was them back in 2006. All right. Really good album. Like I said, I think the production's even better here. Production's a little darker. The songs are a little darker. The production's a little fuller. The music's a tad heavier, I think. Definitely more in that standard progressive metal style. You've got Star of David, which kicks off the album. Excellent song. Complex, yet really catchy. You got the heavy Taint the Sky. You got the almost 10-minute progressive metal barn burner called Waiting in the Wings. Excellent song. Devil's Inc. is real dramatic, very Dream Theater inspired, haunting vocals, tremendous guitars and drums and bass, just really, really good stuff. I think this is a very enjoyable album, and for me, a big step up from a very solid debut. It's funny because the debut is excellent, and I remember when that first came out, we were all like, wow, this is great, this band is awesome, and then like this came out, and it's like, wow. It's like, and as good as you thought the debut was, this is even better. And here's where it gets really hard to rank these albums because, all 5 of them are very good to excellent to near perfect. But there is a slight step up from the debut to all these other ones. And now these are just, they're so good. It's almost hard to rank some of these, especially the top 2. But I'm going to go with number 3. I'm going to go with The Great Escape from 2010. So this is the last album before Tommy got asked to join Camelot, and the band then went and took a long break, 8 years, right? But it's another stunner. I mean, it's heavy, it's symphonic, plenty of challenging musical passages, but again, just loaded with hooks everywhere. Like every song is just like so memorable. You got Wise Man, Alley Cat, big, thick and chunky with some absolutely dazzling lead guitars from Johan. You got the Angel Maker, really progressive, melodic, nice piano and keyboards, emotional vocals from Tommy, and then you've got the big 30-minute title track. This band, unlike a lot of other progressive metal bands in the genre, they're not really big on doing like these 10, 15, 20-minute long songs all the time. They may push the barriers a little bit, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes long, but they very rarely go that far. Here you've got this big, gigantic epic, all right, longest song they've ever done, packed with intensity, lots of beautiful passages. It's kind of like Dream Theater meets Symphony X with some Kansas. I hear some like mid-late 70s symphonic Kansas on this album as well. Really, really good album. Still on Lion Music here at this point. They would go on to Frontiers shortly thereafter. Well, actually, one more album with Lion Music, and then move on to Frontiers. So my next is going to be, this was tough. My top 2, really tough. My top 2, these are pretty much perfect albums, some of the best you're going to hear in this genre. I'm going to go with their most recent Tiara from 2018. Again, this is the debut on Frontiers Records. This is an absolute stunner. Love that album cover too. Tommy obviously busy with Camelot quite a bit in the years since the last one that I just mentioned. Here the band finally get time to get back together, put together a new album. They don't miss a beat. They don't miss a beat after being away for all these years. I mean, and if, like I said, this I think is even better than the album that comes before it. You got the Ever Ones, heavy, melodic, absolutely soaring vocals from Tommy. Dream Machines, big crushing riffs, majestic keyboards. You got the catchy prog of Against the Grain. The absolutely stunning Victorious, which might just be the best song they've ever done. It's so memorable with an absolutely irresistible chorus. If you haven't heard this band before, go here to YouTube and listen to Victorious by Seventh Wonder. Amazing. Then you got Tiara's song, okay? Also ultra memorable. Johan's guitar is excellent throughout this entire album, as well as Andreas's keyboards. This would, in any other lifetime, this would be my number 1 album from them. However, they released this little album in 2008 called Mercy Falls, which was their last album for Lion Music, and this is absolutely spectacular. All right, so this is their big concept album, although they do lots of conceptual themes in all of these albums. This is a story about a man who falls into a coma after getting into an auto accident, and he awakens from the coma in this weird little town that he never heard of before called Mercy Falls. But actually, Mercy Falls is a town that he dreamed about while in his coma. So it's actually not a real town. Okay, so how weird is that? You get into an accident, you're in a coma. While you're in that coma, you're dreaming about this town called Mercy Falls, and then you wake up out of the coma, and you're in this town that you were dreaming about, not the town where you were previously before the accident. So that's the whole story behind this one. Heavy album, complex, but man, oh so melodic. Lot of outstanding moments throughout this album. You got little instrumentals, smaller tracks, longer tracks, lots of shredding guitars, loads of keyboards and keyboard solos, and Tommy's absolutely wonderful soaring vocals throughout the whole thing. I mean, he's just such a great singer. Welcome to the Mercy Falls, killer, unbreakable, really symphonic, very melodic. You got Paradise, which absolutely crushes. Big, heavy, tumultuous progressive metal. You got the melodic epic Break the Silence. You got Hide and Seek, which is loaded with hooks. Then you got like the closer is this kind of almost like doomy prog metal track, The Black Parade, which is kind of like a change of pace from the whole album. Just really, really good, ultra memorable, nice instrumental bits. If you love the virtuoso stuff, it's here. If you love the hooks, it's here. Great, powerful, shiny production. This is kind of like all that progressive metal strives to be. And especially like these, there's so many progressive metal bands do all these concept albums, and some of them kind of sound a little overblown. Some of them don't quite work. The story's too convoluted, whatever. This works on every level. Really, really good stuff. One of the unsung concept albums of the last 20, 30 years in progressive metal. So if you love that sort of thing, from Dream Theater, Symphony X, Vanden Plas, all those bands that, Queensryche, all those bands have kind of dipped into this sort of thing in, the last 20, 30 years. You got to hear this one, Mercy Falls. So that's coming in number 1 for me. So number 1, Mercy Falls. Number 2, Tiara. Number 3, The Great Escape. Number 4, Waiting in the Wings, and number 5 is going to become their debut. So there you have it. So if you are a fan, I would love to hear what you think of this catalog. If you have never listened to this band, what are you waiting for? That's my recommendation for this week. Go out and check out Seventh Wonder. Easily every album, we rank on our website, we rank from 0 to 5, 5 being perfect. I will say every one of these is either a 4, a 4.5, or a 5. No question about it. And probably 3 out of them are 5 out of 5s. They're that good. That good. Just absolute top-notch quality. Plenty heavy. Loaded with hooks. Melodic as all hell. Great vocals. Great lyrics. The whole 9 yards. Production outstanding. Great band. So check them out. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. What is coming up on the channel, you might ask, Pete? Tonight, Monday Night Must See TV with the Hudson Valley Squares. Very cool topic tonight about bands who have made some seriously bad decisions in their careers. We're all going to talk about some of the ones that we feel are some of the worst decisions some of these bands made. Maybe they released a horrible album after a couple of great ones. Maybe they fired a member and brought in a replacement, and that replacement turned out to be a disaster. Maybe they did some horrible tour they never should have done. Maybe they appeared on some awards show and played a horrible song or a horrible performance. Whatever the case might be, whatever that bad decision was, we're going to talk about them tonight. So tune in for that. What else do we have coming up? We've got lots happening this week. Martin Popoff's coming back on the show this week. We've got a show with Jack Toledano and Craig Seibert this week. We've got Sydney Taylor coming on the show for a couple of shows with me. On Wednesday, we're going to rank the studio albums of Bad Company, as well as give a top 10 song show of Mr. Big. Butch Jones is coming on the show this week with me. We're going to give you some of our favorite album closers of all time. That's going to be a dynamite show. What else? We got Monsters Den coming up. Rich Catino's coming up this weekend. We're going to rank, he and I are going to rank the studio albums of Candlemass, Swedish Doom Legends, all sorts of stuff happening this week, guys. Also, I'm hoping to get to rank the albums of Swedish Doom / Stoner veterans, whatever you want to call them, Grand Magus. I never know how to say their name there. Grand M. Really cool band. So that's coming up this week as well, and all sorts of other stuff. So stay tuned for all of it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Help us out. Let an ad play at the beginning of the video, guys. That would greatly help us out. Our views are up this month, but yet revenue from advertising is way down, like ridiculously down. And so I think everybody's just really quick to hit that skip thing, and I get it because they're annoying. But you know, it'd help us out greatly if you let at least one of those little 30-second videos play every now and then. All right, so help us out, greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you all real soon. Take care. Bye bye.